The air over Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson is thick with more than just the crisp Alaskan chill of mid-August. It is heavy with history, suspense, and the weight of two nuclear-armed nations. Today, August 17, 2025, former President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin meet on this rugged frontier, a land once owned by Russia and now a cornerstone of American strategic defense. The symbolism is impossible to ignore. From this vantage point, the world's two greatest military powers are neighbors, separated by a mere sliver of the Bering Strait. The meeting, ostensibly to broker an end to the brutal war in Ukraine, feels like a high-stakes chess match played on a global board. Every detail is meticulously staged to project power. American F-22 Raptors, stationed right here at Elmendorf, patrol the skies with an unseen but deeply felt presence. Russian naval vessels are known to be operating in the nearby international waters, a silent reminder of Moscow's reach. The motorcades that delivered the two leaders were a study in contrasts, American efficiency versus Russian stoicism. Inside, behind closed doors, the atmosphere is charged with a tension that has defined the relationship between these two men and their countries for decades. The world holds its breath, waiting to see if this summit will be a breakthrough for peace or just another chapter in a long and dangerous rivalry. The stakes could not be higher. The war in Ukraine has ground on for years, a bloody testament to the failure of diplomacy and the brutal reality of modern conflict. Trump, ever the deal-maker, has promised to end the war, threatening what he calls very severe consequences if Putin does not agree to terms. Putin, meanwhile, arrived with his own set of non-negotiable demands, his resolve seemingly unbroken by international sanctions and condemnation. Alaska, with its stark, unforgiving landscape, serves as the perfect backdrop for this raw display of geopolitical will. It is a place where survival depends on strength, a fitting arena for two leaders who define their nations by it. As the talks begin, the central question hanging in the air is not just about a peace treaty for Ukraine. It is about a much older, much deeper question that has haunted the world since the dawn of the atomic age. It's a question of dominance, of technology, and of raw, unadulterated military might. Who truly holds the upper hand? Whose arsenal is more advanced, more lethal, more capable of deterring the other? The discussions over territory and ceasefires are merely the surface layer. Beneath it all lies the fundamental competition for supremacy, a showdown between two vastly different yet equally formidable military philosophies. To understand the tension in that Alaskan room, one must look back. The rivalry between the United States and Russia is not new. It is a story written across generations, etched into the very fabric of global politics. For nearly half a century, the Cold War locked the two superpowers in a relentless arms race. The world was divided into two camps, East and West, capitalism versus communism. School children practiced duck and cover drills, and the doctrine of mutually assured destruction, or MAD, became a household concept. It was a terrifying peace, maintained by the promise that any direct conflict would result in the annihilation of both sides. That era was defined by a frantic push for technological superiority. When the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, America responded by creating NASA and racing to the moon. When one side developed a more powerful hydrogen bomb, the other built an even bigger one. It was a competition fought not on battlefields but in laboratories, on missile test ranges, and through proxy wars in places like Vietnam and Afghanistan. The fall of the Soviet Union in 1991 seemed to signal an end to this dangerous game. For a brief moment, it appeared the rivalry was over, and a new era of cooperation was dawning. But the echoes of that conflict never truly faded. The competition simply evolved. In the 21st century, the ideological battle has been replaced by a more pragmatic yet equally intense struggle for influence and strategic advantage. Russia, under Vladimir Putin, has sought to reassert itself as a global power, challenging the post-Cold War order it views as dominated by the United States. This new rivalry plays out in cyberspace, in the Arctic, in the Middle East, and now, most visibly, in the fields of Ukraine. The core of the competition, however, remains the same: military power. Both nations continue to pour vast resources into modernizing their arsenals, ensuring that no one else can match their ability to project force. Today's showdown is a direct continuation of that historic struggle. The technologies are more advanced, the doctrines have shifted, but the fundamental dynamic is unchanged. It is a contest between two nuclear giants, each convinced of its own strength and deeply suspicious of the other's intentions. The meeting in Alaska is not just about Trump and Putin, it's about the ghosts of Kennedy and Khrushchev, Reagan and Gorbachev. It is a reminder that while empires may fall and ideologies may change, the great power competition, fueled by the most destructive weapons ever created by humankind, remains a defining feature of our world. The military might of the United States is built on a foundation of overwhelming force and global reach. It is a machine designed not just to win wars, but to project power to every corner of the planet simultaneously. The most visible symbol of this capability is its fleet of 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. Each one is a floating city, a sovereign piece of American territory that can sail anywhere in the world, carrying an air wing more powerful than most countries' entire air forces. These carriers, supported by a vast network of over 750 overseas military bases, ensure that the United States can respond to a crisis anywhere, anytime. No other nation comes close to this level of global power projection. At the heart of America's strength is its technological superiority in the air. The skies are dominated by aircraft like the F-35 Lightning II and the F-22 Raptor. These are not just fighter jets, they are flying supercomputers, equipped with advanced stealth technology that makes them nearly invisible to enemy radar. This allows them to penetrate deep into hostile airspace to strike targets with precision before the enemy even knows they are there. This air superiority is complemented by a massive fleet of unmanned drones like the MQ-9 Reaper and the RQ-4 Global Hawk, which provide constant surveillance and strike capabilities without risking a pilot's life. To protect itself and its allies, the United States has invested heavily in a multi-layered missile defense system. This is like a series of shields designed to intercept incoming ballistic missiles at different stages of their flight. Systems like the ground-based mid-course defense in Alaska and California provide a homeland defense, while sea-based Aegis systems and theater-level defenses like THAAD and Patriot can be deployed around the world to protect troops and allies. While no shield is perfect, it is the most sophisticated and comprehensive missile defense network ever built, designed to counter threats from rogue states and peer competitors alike. Finally, there is the ultimate deterrent, the nuclear triad. The United States maintains a formidable arsenal of approximately 5,200 nuclear warheads. These can be delivered from land-based Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missiles buried in silos across the American heartland, from Trident II missiles launched from stealthy ballistic missile submarines hiding in the depths of the ocean, and from strategic bombers like the B-2 Spirit. This three-pronged system ensures that even if one part were destroyed in a surprise attack, the United States would still have the ability to launch a devastating retaliatory strike. It is the bedrock of American national security and its ultimate guarantee of sovereignty. Russia's military power is forged from a different philosophy. While it cannot match the sheer scale of American global presence, it has focused its resources on developing asymmetric advantages, weapons designed to counter United States strengths and exploit potential weaknesses. At the forefront of this strategy is its world-leading development of hypersonic missiles. Systems like the Avangard, a glide vehicle launched atop an intercontinental ballistic missile, the air-launched Kinzhal, and the ship-launched Zircon travel at such incredible speeds and on such unpredictable trajectories that they are designed to be virtually unstoppable by any current missile defense system. This technology represents a direct challenge to the defensive shields the United States has spent decades building. Another cornerstone of Russian strength is its formidable air defense network. The S-400 Triumph and its successor, the S-500 Prometheus, are widely considered the most advanced surface-to-air missile systems in the world. These systems create a layered anti-access and area denial bubble, making it incredibly dangerous for enemy aircraft, drones, and even some ballistic missiles to operate within their range. The S-500 is even claimed to have the capability to target low-orbit satellites. By deploying these systems, Russia can effectively close off skies and protect its vital assets, challenging America's long-held air superiority and complicating any potential conflict. On the ground and at sea, Russia maintains a formidable and modernized force. Its army boasts a massive number of tanks, including the advanced T-14 Armata and the battle-proven T-90M. This heavy armor, combined with a vast arsenal of artillery, gives Russia immense conventional firepower, particularly in conflicts along its borders. Beneath the waves, its navy operates some of the world's quietest and most lethal submarines. The Borai-class ballistic missile submarines carry Russia's sea-based nuclear deterrent, while the Yasin-class attack submarines are expert hunters, designed to track and destroy enemy carriers and submarines. Perhaps Russia's most potent and disruptive capability lies in the invisible realm of electronic and cyber warfare. It has developed sophisticated systems like the Krasuka and Murmansk BN that are designed to jam enemy GPS signals, disrupt communications, and blind radar systems. This can effectively cripple the network-centric warfare that the United States military relies on, where every soldier, ship, and plane is connected. By sowing chaos and confusion on the digital battlefield, Russia can level the playing field against a technologically superior adversary. This, combined with its numerically superior nuclear arsenal of around 5,900 warheads, makes the Russian bear a powerful and unpredictable force. When you place the arsenals of the United States and Russia side by side, a clear picture of competing strengths emerges. It's not a simple case of one being better than the other. It's a dynamic balance of different priorities and innovations. In terms of pure technology, the United States holds a significant lead in areas like stealth aircraft, advanced drone systems, and the complex network that links all its military assets together. The F-35's sensor fusion and data sharing capabilities, for example, are a generation ahead of most competitors. The United States excels at creating a fully integrated, information-rich battlefield. However, Russia has brilliantly focused on spoiler technologies designed to negate these American advantages. Where the United States has built stealth fighters, Russia has built world-class air defenses like the S-500 to detect and destroy them. Where the United States has built missile shields, Russia has pioneered hypersonic missiles like the Zircon to fly right through them. This is a classic asymmetric strategy. Instead of trying to build a better aircraft carrier, Russia has focused on building a better carrier killer. In the realm of electronic warfare, Russia's capabilities to jam and disrupt are a direct counter to America's reliance on GPS and communication networks. Looking at the numbers, the comparison tells another story. The United States maintains a much larger and more modern surface navy, centered on its 11 supercarriers, giving it unmatched global reach. Russia, by contrast, has only one aging carrier, but Russia holds a numerical advantage in other areas. It possesses significantly more tanks and artillery pieces, a key factor in any large-scale ground war in Europe or Asia. Most critically, Russia maintains a slight numerical edge in its nuclear stockpile, possessing the largest inventory of nuclear warheads in the world, a fact that underpins its entire strategic posture. Ultimately, the comparison comes down to global reach versus regional dominance. The United States military is designed to project power across the entire globe, maintaining a presence in every ocean and on every continent. Its strength lies in its logistics, its vast network of bases, and its ability to sustain complex operations far from home. Russia's military, while modernizing and expanding its influence, is primarily focused on securing its own borders and dominating its immediate neighborhood or near abroad. Its power is more concentrated, designed to create an impenetrable fortress in Eurasia, from which it can launch disruptive attacks on its adversaries. Imagine the scene inside that secure room in Alaska. The formalities are over. The small talk is exhausted. Donald Trump leans forward, his posture broadcasting confidence. Vladimir Putin sits back, his expression a mask of calm control. The air crackles. The central unspoken question finally surfaces, perhaps phrased as a blunt negotiation tactic. "So, Vladimir," Trump might begin, a slight smile playing on his lips. "We both know what this is really about. It's about strength. We have the best equipment, the best military in the world. Everyone knows it. It's not even close. We can end this war, but you have to understand who you're dealing with." Putin would likely absorb the statement without flinching, letting the silence hang for a moment. His response would be measured, precise, and aimed at the core of American confidence. "Donald," he might reply, his voice quiet but firm, "your country has impressive machines, your carriers are very large, your jets are very expensive, but strength is not just about what is big and loud. We have weapons that your shields cannot stop, weapons that travel faster than thought. You rely on satellites and networks. What happens when those signals go dark? You cannot see. You cannot speak. Your expensive machines become blind and deaf. The tension would escalate, a verbal sparring match between two masters of psychological warfare. Our F-35s would be over Moscow before you even knew it," Trump might counter, jabbing a finger for emphasis. "Invisible, the best in the world. And our submarines, they are everywhere, silent. You would never see the strike coming. We have more than 750 bases around the world. We are everywhere." The boast is designed to overwhelm, to paint a picture of an inescapable American presence, a global web of power that Russia cannot hope to match. It is a game of intimidation where perception is as important as reality. Putin's retort would be surgical, turning the argument back on itself. "Bases can be targets, Donald. Your long supply lines are a vulnerability, not just a strength. Your stealth is an illusion we have worked hard to break with our S-500. And you talk of submarines. We too have submarines that are very, very quiet. While you are everywhere, we are exactly where we need to be. We are at home. You ask whose weapons are stronger. Perhaps the real question is, whose will is stronger? Who is willing to endure more to protect what is theirs?" The conversation ends, not with an answer, but with a chilling, unresolved challenge. The high-stakes military competition between the United States and Russia does not happen in a vacuum. Every move, every new weapon unveiled, and every tense summit sends powerful ripples across the globe, forcing other nations to recalculate their own security and alliances. For the members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, this rivalry is an existential concern. Nations like Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, which sit on Russia's doorstep, feel the pressure most acutely. They rely on the United States security guarantee, the promise that an attack on one is an attack on all, as the bedrock of their defense. The constant modernization of Russia's military, particularly its focus on advanced missiles and electronic warfare, forces NATO to adapt continuously. The alliance must invest in its own integrated air and missile defense, conduct large-scale military exercises to ensure readiness, and forward deploy troops to its eastern flank as a deterrent. European leaders watch meetings like the one in Alaska with a mixture of hope and trepidation. They hope for a de-escalation of tensions, but worry that a deal struck between Washington and Moscow might come at the expense of their security, or, worse, at the expense of Ukrainian sovereignty. The unity of the Western alliance is constantly tested by this dynamic. Beyond NATO, the rivalry shapes conflicts and alliances across the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. In Syria, the United States and Russia have backed opposing sides in a complex civil war, leading to tense standoffs and near misses between their forces. Russia's arms sales, particularly its S-400 air defense system, have become a major geopolitical tool. When a United States ally like Turkey purchases the S-400, it creates deep fissures within NATO. Similarly, Russia's growing influence in military partnerships in Africa challenge traditional Western dominance, offering other nations an alternative to dependency on the United States. This competition creates a more volatile and unpredictable world. It fuels regional arms races, as countries feel compelled to pick a side or arm themselves to avoid becoming a pawn in the great power game. Global security becomes more fragile, as the risk of miscalculation between two nuclear-armed powers increases. A crisis in one part of the world can quickly escalate, drawing in the superpowers and their allies. The showdown between the American eagle and the Russian bear is not just their concern, it is a global condition that defines the landscape of international security for everyone. No discussion of the United States-Russia rivalry is complete without considering the colossal presence of China. Beijing is not a passive observer in this global drama. It is a third and increasingly powerful player that fundamentally alters the balance of power. For China, the dynamic between Washington and Moscow is a matter of intense strategic interest. A close relationship between the United States and Russia could leave China isolated, while a deeply adversarial one could create opportunities for Beijing to advance its own interests. China is carefully watching the Alaska summit, analyzing every outcome for its potential impact on its own rise. In recent years, China and Russia have forged a no-limits partnership driven by a shared desire to counter what they see as United States global hegemony. This cooperation is deepest in the military sphere. China has purchased advanced Russian weaponry, including Su-35 fighter jets and S-400 air defense systems, to modernize its own military, the People's Liberation Army. They conduct joint military exercises with increasing frequency and complexity, signaling a united front against the West. A weakened Russia, bogged down in Ukraine, is a concern for China, as it could leave Beijing to face the United States alone. However, this partnership is one of convenience, not a true alliance of equals. China's economic and technological power is rapidly eclipsing Russia's. While Russia excels in specific military niches like hypersonics and nuclear weapons, China's overall military growth is staggering. The People's Liberation Army Navy is now the largest in the world by number of ships, and China is rapidly expanding its own nuclear arsenal, moving towards a triad of its own. China is not just buying Russian technology, it is innovating at a breathtaking pace, particularly in areas like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and anti-ship ballistic missiles. This creates a complex triangular dynamic. The United States now faces the challenge of deterring two major nuclear-armed rivals simultaneously, a strategic nightmare not seen even during the Cold War. For United States military planners, the question is no longer just about Russia or China, but about the potential for a coordinated challenge from both. The rivalry between Trump and Putin in Alaska is being watched most closely in Beijing, where strategists are calculating how this old Cold War duel will shape the new three-player game that will define the 21st century. As the doors of the Alaskan summit open and the leaders depart, the central question remains unanswered, hanging in the frosty air. Whose weapons are truly stronger? The debate is endless. Is it America's global network of carriers and stealth jets? Or is it Russia's uninterceptable hypersonic missiles and disruptive electronic warfare? The truth is, there may be no single answer. Strength in the 21st century is not a simple calculation of warheads and warships. It is a complex, shifting matrix of technology, strategy, economic endurance, and national will. A direct, full-scale war between these two powers is, as it was during the Cold War, almost unthinkable due to the certainty of nuclear annihilation. This reality pushes the competition into gray zones. The true test of strength is not just in the weapons themselves, but in how they are used to achieve political goals without firing a shot. It is about deterrence, influence, and the ability to shape the world to one's advantage. Russia has shown that a smaller economy can still project immense power by focusing on asymmetric capabilities that exploit an opponent's weaknesses. The United States has shown that overwhelming technological and economic might can sustain a global presence that no other nation can match. Both approaches have proven effective in their own right. This brings us to the ultimate and perhaps most important question. Is true national strength measured solely by the destructive capacity of its arsenal? Or does it also lie in the power of its economy, the resilience of its alliances, and the wisdom of its diplomacy? A hypersonic missile is a fearsome weapon, but it cannot build a lasting peace. An aircraft carrier can project immense power, but it cannot solve a global economic crisis or a pandemic. The most sophisticated weapons are useless without a clear strategy, and the diplomatic skill to avoid having to use them in the first place. The Showdown in Alaska, with its focus on military hardware and raw power, is a dramatic reminder of the dangerous world we live in. But it should also serve as a prompt for deeper reflection. As the United States and Russia continue their historic rivalry, and as China rises to challenge them both, the future of global security may not be decided by who has the strongest sword. It may instead be decided by who has the sharpest mind, the steadiest hand, and the wisdom to understand that the greatest strength of all is the ability to turn adversaries into partners and to build a world where such weapons are never needed. The suspense is not just about who would win a war, but whether we are smart enough to prevent one.